at the risks to agriculture as they've been set up, it is in quite a sobering picture. And I've put this suite of images up to give an illustration of that. And so the top row of maps headed surface water, and the bottom row headed groundwater, give an illustration of what the impact of meeting some of the environmental ambitions and destinations that we need to achieve, what implications they could have to agriculture. And I think rather than be too distracted by the numbers, let's just look at the overarching picture. And also the three different sets of graphic on the left-hand side. We have an environmental destination, which is called a business as usual plus, and then there are increasing levels of environmental work, which will have an impact on all abstractors, but here we're talking about agriculture. This illustrates the largest element of what this process is all about in terms of looking at the east of England as a water-stressed area. And in order to meet national and regional requirements in terms of restoring our river environments, restoring the water ecology in its broadest sense, will require us to change the way that we are abstracting at the moment. If I just pick on surface water abstractions on the left-hand side, so the top left picture, there you can see that the reduction in agricultural abstraction licenses for irrigation will have to be reduced by to more than 50% in some areas in order to meet those environmental needs. And this, if you like, is an illustration of the challenge that we face. Now, I must emphasize that these are licensed quantities, not actual abstractions. And most of us know there can be a difference between those two. But nevertheless, what it means is there is a big impact coming agriculture's way. And it's not the ambition or the vision that we simply say, oh dear, agriculture is going to have to manage without this water. The ambition and the vision is that we have to find new resources. And that is the major challenge. The biggest pressure is where there is the most intense level of agriculture abstraction for irrigation. There's a sort of a general matter there. So you can see that there's a big swath through the middle, sort of north and middle of our region where the impact is relatively low. Now there is abstraction for irrigation in those areas, but the pressure isn't as great as it is part of the North Norfolk coast, which is particularly sensitive. It coincides with quite a lot of the North Norfolk area of outstanding natural beauty. It's a very important environmental area, but it's also an important agricultural area. The big one in the middle, running across the middle, which is the Camanillius catchment. Well, that is a very intensive agricultural area, growing vegetables under irrigation. Inevitably, there's a lot of sensitivity there. The picture for public water supply abstractions is pretty similar, and those guys are as worried as we are. Now, the difference, of course, is that when you're a public water supply company operating over a big geographic area with abstraction points dotted all over the place, and with the infrastructure to move water around, there are tunes that you can play compared to a typical farmer who sits on top of his or her water supply. So if me as a farmer, if my water supply is threatened, in practical terms, there's not much I can do about it. The water I have either flows through my farm on the river, or it sits underneath my farm in the aquifer. So I guess it just brings it into sharper focus. You feel more vulnerable, but it is as big a problem for public water supply as it is for agriculture. It's just how we work through the solutions.